You're such an asshole.
Hey everybody, the old captain here. We have a twofer. This client wanted he basically had two requests in one email. And so I'm going to divvy it up, and I won't read through his entire preamble, but I will get to his questions specifically on how I write books. When you specifically want to know about bachelor pad economics, but I'll just give you some general thing. I would like you to give me advice as to what helped you write your books, particularly bachelor pad economics, what I read and enjoyed immensely. I'd like to know what software you used, what routine, if any, you kept to whilst you were writing, in the writing process, and what you did to combat your writer's block. And then he has another question. So let's answer this one, then I'll go through his other requests more thoroughly. All right, so here's the old captain, how the captain does writing books. All right, what helped me write my books? The key thing is your environment. And it has to be boring, and you have to be forced, and there has to be no human interaction. And what I'm specifically talking about is working overnight security shifts. Okay, so I'm listing them here. I had a security job. Okay, that's one. I still have a security gig. I work part-time for my buddy. I'm on call. And I will never give up security simply because I can get so much shit done, especially now today with cell phones and laptops. I mean, you can get internet access anywhere. So you are double dipping. I mean, security, everybody should work a security guard job or an overnight librarian, something where you're working security and no one else is around. That's the other variable, is it has to be at night or when nobody's around. I had this gig. I banged out Bachelor Pad Economics, which is almost a 500-page book. Maybe it was more than 500 pages. A 500-page book. And I did that in 3 months. Editing and everything. Done in 3 months. How do you write a 500-page book? Simple. Because my security shift at that time was 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. And I was not a happy person. I mean, I'll warn you now, you're going to come out depressed and miserable if you work that much on a book, because it's taxing mentally. But I banged it out, and that's my philosophy. I like to get my books done. I don't want to be that dipshit that's been writing faster than the speed of love for 5 fucking years and doesn't finish it. You either commit to finishing that fucking book or it's going to drag on for the rest of your life. So security, nighttime, dog shift, like there's no fucking people around. Oh, another thing, second thing, pre-knowledge. If you look at my books, I'm a lazy fuck. I don't write books that take a lot of research because I don't want to spend time researching. I just want to write my books that I already have the knowledge. I know where to get what data I need. I've already done through either studying or working in the field. I know what I'm talking about. So I can just go and write and say, oh, where was that data again? Maybe I spend 5 minutes. Like, okay, out of all the books I've ever written, to show you how little research I actually commit to my books, the most amount of research I've ever done was for a book, Black Man's Guide Out of Poverty. And the reason that took about 2 hours of research, you think that's nothing. Yeah, it is nothing, but that was 2 hours I didn't want to do. And it was all pulling the data about black male standards of living compared to white male standards of living on any one of a number of things. Life expectancy, health, STDs, median income, you name it. And that took some time. I hated it. Pretty much every other book I've written is just, there it is. It all comes from up here. So that's another thing that helps me write the books. Another one is a flexible schedule. That was not always the case. For many years I had a 9-to-5 gig, and you just got to find the time to write. But now that I don't answer to anybody, I can work whenever I want. Also, I don't drink when I write books because then I stay up even later, and I'll write till 3 or 4 a.m., which helps, but it doesn't. It plays with your mind a little bit. But if you are currently employed, hopefully you're smart enough or your employers are stupid enough, which has been the case in my day, where they just can't keep up with you. And thankfully, I've rarely had a job where I was engaged a full 8 hours a day. And I think it's not nothing to do with me. I think that's just baby boomer managerial classes in general. They're very inept and very inefficient. So most jobs you should be able to find at least 4 hours a day to write your own shit. And there was one job where I was writing 8 hours a day on their dime because, and I won't say which because there's been more than one. I don't know who it was, but it wasn't you. Suck my dick. Because they just couldn't, I mean, there was no work. It was like, oh, don't do anything yet. We don't know what, okay, fine. I'll sit here. I'm not going to sit here and do nothing. So if you can have a job where you can work on it, absolutely, that's a great thing. So security, but then also daytime jobs. Just keep an Excel spreadsheet up with some numbers in it, and then Alt Tab over to then. Oh, you working? Yeah, I'm working on the nothing you gave me. It's so is that. Then software. What did I use? Microsoft Word to write. I use GIMP as an editor because what you're going to find if you go through CreateSpace, which is Amazon's self-publishing arm, you need a cover in 300 dots per inch for resolution. And Microsoft Paint does not do that. I think they're like 92 now or 72. So you need to get GIMP 2.0, whatever's out there now. And that will shrink your JPEG image into a high DPI, 300 DPI resolution. That will come in later on. I use Microsoft Paint for some graphics and charting, Excel for charting. And then what other software? I don't really use software, but this is just another resource I use. I have friends that do my editing. I have a group of people who will edit my stuff for more or less free. And as I finish each chapter, I send it out to them. So by the time I'm done with this last chapter, I've made all the changes that the editors caught, and it's this final chapter. It's not like, here's a whole fucking book, read it. And they never get back to you because it's too much of a piece of literature to digest, so that's it. Otherwise, the only kind of software you're really going to run into is the online platforms that CreateSpace, Kindle, and Audiobook will have. And those platforms are getting increasingly easier to use. You simply just upload your PDF or Microsoft Word text, the book itself, and then you have to do some measurements to create an image file for the cover. And if you can do 4th grade math, you can do it. And that's pretty much it. You upload those two things, and it spits out a book. It's amazing shit. Routine. I bang out, again, my philosophy is to get it done. This last book took me 3.5 weeks to write. Not editing. 3.5 weeks to write. Because editing's out of my control. And the reason I do it that way is because I want to get this shit done. I want to make money. I don't like dicking around waiting, oh, maybe okay. No. The vast majority of authors aren't authors because they never finish their first fucking book. All right, they're failures. So don't be a failure. I dedicate at least 8 hours a day to banging it out. If no ifs, ands, or buts. You'll be miserable, but it'll get done. And overall, like that month or two that you're writing, you'll be a miserable, depressed wreck, and you'll hate people. But the remaining 10 months of the year, and then the rest of your life, you'll have some dividend income, and to make things a lot better. So for whatever short-term price, there's long-term gain. Routine. Oh, also, I kind of time my book writing. If I know I got a stint of gigs coming up for security, that's when I'll start writing. So you need me for how long? A whole week? Dang, let's do it. I don't let that go to waste. And so I always try to work dog shift, late night shift, midnight or 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. if you can get it in 16 hours, if you could do it. Otherwise, 12-hour shifts. But I mean, take whatever you can get where you're alone, it's quiet, and you're allowed to work. And then also, I have the staff of editors always ready at my command, saying like, hey, can you do this? Yeah, before I start writing, hey, if I send this, can you do it? Yep, okay. Boom, that's another routine. So there's a process, there's a system. I make sure everything is good to go, and then we fire up the machine, and you just, like a machine gun, you bang it out. Then finally, writer's block. I've never had trouble with writer's block because I do an inordinate amount of outlining, planning, and schedule. I'll start with a big sheet of paper, just jot down all my thoughts with the spider diagrams, if you're familiar with those, and then I logically organized the entire book, and then each chapter within the book, I organize that. So with bullet points, so I know exactly how this thing I'm going to write about leads to this thing I'm going to write about that leads to this thing that I'm going to write about. And it goes actually quite quickly. I mean, you spend an hour outlining, you save yourself 3 writing. I mean, it is really that high rate of return. So do a very, very thorough. Like, one thing I never understood is they write a fiction book. Why just start writing? I don't know where the story's going. Are you fucking joking me? You're going to just start writing a story you don't know the end to? Are you a moron? And I've had people, then I created this character, and he became more involved in the story and the plot line that it changed. I'm like, well, too bad you're a dipshit. Don't know what you're. That's dumb. Just dumb. Don't be that dipshit if you're going to write fiction. Have a fucking beginning, middle, and end. Have it all subplots of sublines tie into the end. Organize, structure, integrity. Put it on paper, big diagrams, whiteboard. I bought a whiteboard kind of for that idea, but I never used it for that idea. I cannot emphasize outlining enough. that is just going to save you a ton of time and pain and agony down the road. So anyway, that's how I write books. So hope that helps you and any other future authors. And I hope it dismays all you want to be authors who are never going to write a book anyway. Toodles.